plus and zero interaction. So one species benefits, one is unimpacted. The classic example in the textbook is a shark, but it's actually a really weird example of this. So this is a shark, that's a bull shark, and below it is this fish riding on its belly called the remora. They have modified scales on the top of their head that act as a sartorial disc, and they latch on to the bottom of larger fishes and whales, and basically they hitchhike, they get a free ride, okay? So it works out great for them. Water is a super dense medium. Human beings are designed for one thing, to locomote really well. Are we good runners? No, we suck. Are we the best walkers? Nope, we kind of suck. Human beings are actually great joggers. Did you know that? We can jog forever at pace. Most humans could jog lightly forever. A lot of people think it has to do with the way that we used to hunt. And so the idea was we were just pain in the asses and jogged behind the animals until they wore out and flopped over. Didn't even have to throw anything at them or anything. Just kept jogging until they, basically got tired, and that was it. So that's kind of one of our main features. Well, the problem here is, what if I made you do that in water? I could walk halfway to come around the country. It wouldn't be no big deal if I did it slow enough, right? But could I do that through water? Could I swim halfway across the country? No. Water is dense medium. It's thick, it's viscous, and it saps all your energy. So that's why fish have that shape. Do you recognize that shape? What's it called? That's a fusiform body shape. It's designed for one thing, to increase the hydrodynamic properties and reduce your drag through a viscous medium like that, the dense medium. So here's the problem. I look at that and say, how the hell is this a commensal relationship? I can see the remora, it's easy. I get to move around for free in this dense medium. The shark is a messy eater. Wherever it kills something and eats it, I get all the scrap. I'm getting fed and I'm getting locomoted around. Life is great. It's a full-on, just take it, right? Why is that a zero for the shark? So think about it. That's a dense medium, and I got a cart. That fish is big. That's 3 feet long underneath me. I got to cart all its weight. Not only that, but what is it doing to my hydrodynamic profiles? It's screwing it all up, which means I got to waste a lot more energy to get through the water. Now we know they don't like it, because we see these sharks and other organisms, when they get them on them, you see them upside down, rubbing their bellies on the bottoms of boats. I've seen sharks rubbing their bellies on whales and crazy stuff like that to get these things off, right? So obviously they don't like it. But it's still considered to be a zero. Why is that? What do you think that is? For this individual shark, is that a good thing? No, it sucks. It's terrible. But how is this measured? The population growth rate, not at the individual organismal level. So how does this work? Remora aren't picky, and shark are social. You don't think of them as social animals, but they are. They come together to breed, they come together often to feed. And when they come together to do those things, remora detach, right? And they're not picky about who they reattach to. So maybe it was on you, but now I'm on you. So what happens is the negative aspects of being carted around, what does that do overall the population? The individual aspect is diluted. So you never measure it at the area you're actually generating it, which is the population, right? Population growth rates of the shark are not impacted, though individually they are. Does that make sense? You've diluted the overall impact because it's at the population level that you're measuring it, and we don't measure it there. Sound reasonable? You can't see it at that level. So that's an interesting one, the shark and the remora. Here's one that we're acquainted with. That's the cockroach, and then it's us. Who's the minus in that relationship? I didn't say minus, there's no minus. So in this case, who's the plus, I meant? The cockroach is the plus. What is the cockroach getting out of it? Food. They're getting food, they get a great place to live in your house and in your walls and in your shoes and your furniture and all that kind of stuff. Not only that, but when you march into your apartment, what's the first thing you kill? You don't kill the cockroaches. You kill all the spiders and all the big things that are predators of the cockroach. So you're doing them a great service. You're feeding them, you're getting rid of their feathers, and you're giving them a great place to live. But why is it considered to be a zero for us? They are pretty gross.
They're not.
It doesn't affect us at the population growth rate level. That's exactly it. The I mean, you have to get it at super nasty high density for it to actually have an impact on us in any really strong manner. At normal densities, you hardly even know they're around. They're everywhere. IMB has one of the highest densities of cockroaches anywhere. They're all here in the older buildings on campus. They're everywhere, right? But it would have to be, in order for it to actually be a negative relationship, it'd have to affect the population growth rate, which would mean that if you went into somebody's apartment and you'd be like, I see a roach, I refuse to mate with you. And that propagated to your cohort, then that would happen, right? But that's rarely the case. So it's a plus and it's a zero. This isn't a mensalism. It's a minus and a zero. So here's a nice example. I have these three trees. The walnut tree is the big one in the middle, and I have these smaller trees on the outskirts of it. This is kind of an ornamental thing. It's not so good without a tree stuff. Now here's the walnut. It's sitting there. It's getting all the sunlight. It's got a big, deep taproot going way down below the root systems of these other trees. It does, for its purposes, it doesn't even know they're there, right? It's a big zero for it. It doesn't care. Doesn't matter. Nutrients, nothing. It's taking nutrients from deep. It's taking the sunlight up from high. These things aren't interacting with it in any negative way. But what about for the smaller trees? They're getting shaded out. It's taking all the water from the soil, the big tree is, and it's grabbing the nutrients from the soil too before they can get at it effectively. So they're suffering in many ways as a minus, okay? So that's an example of an event solution. One is harmed, but the other has no effect whatsoever. Then we have competition. We've talked about competition before. It's a negative-negative interaction by association. Nice example of this is in the Serengeti playing with the lion and the hyena, which are heavy-duty competitors for resources and space. Typically during the wet seasons, they're pretty benign towards each other. But during the dry season, when resources become limiting, they're in constant warfare with each other, as an example in the middle. And they're really interesting dichotomies of social structure. So lions, what kind of society is that? Matriarchal or patriarchal? That's a patriarchal society, typically dominated by one or more alpha males, right? And then the hyena troop on the other side is completely opposite. It's what? Matriarchal. It's dominated typically by one or more dominant females. Typically many more hyena or lion pride in terms of numbers. They're interesting societies. Is that a male or a female lion? That's a male lion. Very distinctive morphology. Actually quite weird looking. So if you actually look at male lions close up, the first thing you realize is they're freaking gigantic and they're scary. And the next thing you realize is they're a disproportional head size to body. And you're like, you look so weird. It's like you can hardly even walk with a head that big. Why would you have it? And then when you look at their society, it's kind of funky too, because the females do 90% of the work. They rear all the young, they catch all the food, and then when they catch it, the big head comes flopping in, first at the kill, pushes everybody out of the way, gets the feed, and does all that stuff. Most of the time you look, he's lazing around, doing nothing. And you're like, why the hell, if I was a female lion, would I put up with that crap? And the reason is because it does one thing really great. What is it? He kills that. And he does a really great job of killing it. So in this case, when they come together, what happens is often female hunting parties are quite outnumbered by hyena troops. Hyena are really vicious and really effective killers. And so they're fast, they're smart, and their jaws are so strong that they can snap femur bones with a bite. Think about like a water buffalo femur bone. They can break that right in half, no problem at all. What can they do to you? See ya. No max, all right, none. You definitely don't want to be out in the middle of nowhere with hyena around. You will just be eviscerated. So here's the trick. These guys are tough. They outnumber the female lions, and they can really kick the crap out of them because it's easier to steal food than it is to catch it yourself. And that's what they do. However, male lion doesn't like that so much because he goes hungry, and all his offspring go hungry. So what happens is when that occurs, and he sees this happening, or he sees the lioness come back all bloody, he then does something really interesting. He will march and find the troop, and he will hunt down the dominant female and kill her viciously in front of all the other troops. Pretty impressive, right? That troop's a clan. I just spoke. They're called clans, okay? I think of primates, this is a clan. And so it's amazing how adept, if you think this big thing couldn't even run that fast, wrong. They are quick and they are fast when they want to be. I teach a tropical ecology course, so I often show a video in there. It's a cool video of this event happening over a couple-day period where the lionesses get their stuff stolen, they get beat up, and then the male lion in the troop hunts down the clan and kills it. And it's pretty impressive. So what they do is you find out why they have that big head size. Because when you open the jaw, guess what fits perfectly in it? The skull of a hyena. Perfectly. You ever seen those nutcrackers at Christmas? Like that? That's what they're designed to do. And so the lion can crack that hyena skull like a nut, pop, and kill it. It's a pretty impressive thing. If you want to see it, you can go like on YouTube and go type in like lion versus hyena Serengeti plain. It'll pop up. You can actually see it. It's pretty impressive. That's why they deal with all the crap, the female lions anyways. It's so good what they do. So obviously, is that a positive relationship? No. When you're engaged in this kind of damage with each other, that's negative at the population growth level. All right. Let's talk about predation. Obviously, who's benefiting there? Yeah, the lion's benefiting quite a bit, right? Water buffalo, not so much. Lions are neat in the way that they hunt because they are a social organism. They're super strong and super fast. They're stealth hunters, though. You ever seen the little tufts on their tail? That's how they communicate without making any noise. They flick it, and they have a signaling, it's like code. It's really cool. So one jumps on the back, hires the animal out, others grab the legs, and then finally one lioness will come up to the front and bite the nose of the animal and close the jaw. And what happens when that occurs? It suffocates the animal. Pretty ingenious way to bring down something that's 5 times your size, right? Okay, so one benefits and the other's negative. So we see this all the time. We're a prime example of a predator. That lobster is going to be on the plate pretty soon, and that's the prey. Plus, in lions, here's a polar bear and what's left of seals. Unfortunately for us, polar bears are well on their way to extinction. They're one of the biggest and most charismatic examples of the effects of climate change and the extinction of animals. So what happens right now is, unfortunately, because the ice sheets are all breaking up in the north, what happens is when these guys have their cubs, they come out and they have to take the cubs to the feeding areas. But it's much harder for polar bears to catch prey anymore because as the ice sheet breaks up, it makes catching seals really difficult. The more open water there is, the less availability there is for catching them. The way that they catch seals is they don't chase them down in the water. They can't do it that way. They're not fast enough. But what they do is they just sit there patiently at the blowholes, right? The openings in the ice where the seals have to come up and take a breath. They just wait them out. Sooner or later, you got to come up and take a breath, and when you do, I paw you right out of the hole. The problem is when you break up all the ice, they don't have to go to those holes anymore. The seals just go wherever the cracks are. The other big problem is as the ice sheets break up, the cubs, when they're first born, they have to eat, and you have to move, and they have to move immediately. Moving over ice for polar bear is super easy. Swimming is not so easy because of the medium again. So what happens is as the ice sheets break up, the distance between flows gets wider and wider and wider. Adult polar bears can make the swim. Cubs cannot, they drown. So what we're seeing is every year, depending on the oscillations in the weather, we get less and less recruitment of cubs. Some years we're getting none. And so what happens is all the cubs are starving or drowning. And so you get complete zero recruitment in certain years. You can't withstand that too many years in a row, or you'll lose the entire species. And that's where we're headed. Pretty soon you'll only see polar bears in zoos. Isn't that a shame? And that's a direct impact of climate shift. All right. So, parasitism. Really no difference in terms of the impact between predator and prey. One benefits, one is negative, right? So obviously, who's the benefactor here? The parasite. Who's getting the negative? The host. So interestingly enough, free-living organisms like us are a rarity on this planet. Parasitism is a much more common way of life. For every single free-living organism, there is anywhere from 10 to 1,000 parasites that specialize on you as a habitat type. Pretty impressive, right? You're like, no, not. So Here's some examples, and we'll come back to this. I'm just going to talk real quickly in the last couple of minutes. So these are examples of some human parasites. Cave worms, intestinal roundworms. This is a real winner. That's called a bot fly, and that's someone's head. I used to be a tropical ecologist, and I was always hating bot flies. Because in the tropics, you have two options. It's hot as hell, so you can either take off your shirt, try to get rid of the clothing to maintain your cool, be comfortable. But as soon as you do that, what do you open up? Your skin to biting insects. And that's one of them. How it works is this. Adult fly bites you, lays the egg in the wound, and then what happens is the larva starts to develop inside the wound in your skin. You first notice it as it looks like almost like an acne pimple, but when you touch it, it's hot and it moves. And then they grow, and inside is a maggot. The problem is, I don't know, this one's getting extracted. Do you see the little rings on it? Let me turn the lights out, because see the little ringlets? On those rings, see the little black spikes on it? They're really hard. It looks like just grains there. They're literally like spikes. They're little pectus spikes that stick out. Like you ever try to pull a worm out of its hole? Same thing, but it's your head. So as you pull it, each one of those ringlets is sticking in. It's excruciating. I had a friend who couldn't take the heat one day, and we were in a bot fly area. He's like, I can't take it. I won't take it. You'll regret it. He took off his shirt. 13 of them on the back. Brutal. Have a nice day, guys. We'll pick it up.